The Sedona Fire District Governing Board is now called to order. We'll have Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll have a moment of silence for all of the first responders, firefighters, and police officers who passed since our last meeting.
Let's take a moment to remember the 4 firefighters and 3 police officers that have passed since our last meeting.
Thank you. Chief Mazulis.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. This is our monthly board meeting, and we generally start it with recognition of personnel and the badge pinnings and things. After we're done with that short ceremony, we'll take a 5-minute recess, and then you guys can all go out to the apparatus base, check out the station, take pictures, do whatever you want to do. Or if you want to stay for our finance report, you're more than welcome to. But it's a cool night. We're going to start off with a recognition of Bob Motes, and he's our everything when it comes to IT and radios. And this month he's celebrating 20 years with Sedona Fire. He manages our radios. He manages everything that we use to communicate internally and externally, and that's more than a lot of people realize, because our system's 186 years old, and I don't know how he does it. We spend a lot of money on duct tape and baling wire, and he makes it happen. But Bob's again been with us for 20 years. 2010 he got our customer service award. 2014 he got a unit citation. 2014 and 2015 he got our customer service award. And in 2022, he got our Distinguished Service Award for his efforts. Bob has a long list of telecom history dating back to 1982. And he's really an asset to our organization. And I know I can speak for staff when I say we really appreciate the efforts that you put in every day and 7 days a week. So thank you, Bob. Got a small token. You have any speech? Bob's a big speaker.
Bob, let me, on behalf of the board, let me thank you for all the hours you put in that nobody knows about, that the chief thinks he knows about, that we hear about occasionally. But for all those hours and for your dedication to the Sedona Fire District, our deepest, deepest appreciation. And we're looking forward to another 20 years with you here.
And I'll tell a quick story. So 2 years ago, I believe it was, we have a UTV that's set up with tracks to go up to our towers when it's snowing. And Bob had to one up our operational crews, and him and our mechanic were going up to fix a tower site so we could maintain our radio network. And on the way, they found 2 stranded hikers and went ahead and did a rescue and one-upped our staff. So that was awesome. That's one of 100,000 stories I could tell about what he does for us. But now we move on to a badge pinning. This is going to be a frequent occurrence for the foreseeable future for Sedona Fire. We've got, and the fire service across the state, we've got a lot of folks getting older and retiring out. And we're going to keep finding good, solid folks to come in and replace those people. And I think this group right here, we've got 4 folks tonight that are some of the best of the best. And I'm excited to have them on board. And I appreciate all the family being here, because that's what matters. You know, we talked to these guys about, you know, one of the messages I like to convey is you have a faith, you know, believe in something, have something that grounds you, and then take care of your family second. Because if you don't take care of your family, then you have nothing when you get off work. And work's cool, and that's the third thing you want to manage. But, you know, we are a family as the fire service and as Sedona Fire, but your real family is what matters. And so it's really cool to see everybody here. And you're the ones that are going to take care of them when we beat them up for 48 hours. So we appreciate you. And with that, I'm going to invite up Matt Ortiz for his badge. Stand over here in front of everybody and be all uncomfortable. Veronica, his wife is going to be pinning him. So this is the pin. There's a good possibility you're going to stab him if you're okay with that. Oh, and this is one of the shirts. You got to stick it through here and just kind of fish it through there. We'll fix it later if it's not right. But poke him. Yeah. You want to grab him?
Hold that
Right,
kid.
yeah.
Hold that young man.
There we go.
That's good. All right. This is Matt Ortiz, raised by his mother with 6 siblings. His first car was a '94 T-Bird. You still got it? Hold it. Oh. So got into construction, and then he's been with the U.S. Forest Service for a number of years in Flagstaff, working on the hot shot crews. 14 years, right?
Yeah.
13 years with the hot shots, and we stole them. So I'm pretty happy about that. He's trading in the green for the blue, and we're happy to have you. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we have Max Fishnick, and he will be pinned by his girlfriend. And then I had to ask her name, and it's Lindsay. Come on up. Just kind of right.
No.
It's okay if you stab him. It's all right.
Thanks. All right. Well, this is Max, as I said, middle child of 3 boys, and he's lives in Flagstaff, Arizona, and we were allowed to acquire him from the GFR, the Greater Flagstaff Region Fire Departments. He worked for Summit Fire for a while, and then with the Bearjaw Wildland Crew, and brings a lot of experience to our organization, and we're pretty excited to have him as well. So, thank you. You got any speech?
No, thank you.
All right. Thank you. Next, we have Sean Williams. He's going to be pinned by Captain Sanchez. Do it. Good job, Rod. All right, so Sean, he's born and raised Cottonwood, Arizona. He's a 3rd generation Verde Valley firefighter. His dad retired from us, and he's been chasing the dream for a while, and he's here. So, and he's got his family in the audience again. Betsy, hello online, if you can hear us. This is Mom. She's sick, so she's not here today. But yeah, like I said, born and raised in Cottonwood, Mingus swimmer, many other athletic endeavors, and swimming's the only thing he's good at. But he's all right at firefighting, but we welcome him, and thank you. See you there. Next, we've got, I almost said Dave, Chad Goose. Come on up. And this old guy, Dave's gonna pin him. Chad's another 2nd generation Sedona firefighter. Dave retired from us in 20, Okay,
18.
2018.
Remember all those times? I do. Where's your buttons at?
Just stick it in there, we'll fix it.
I see.
Should go above the pocket.
Holy cow. How's that feel?
Lady holding a baby did it.
That's all right, Buzz. I know how to make deposits. All right, there you go.
All right. I grew up in Rimrock. He's got two brothers, and we stole him from Copper Canyon Fire and Medical, and we're proud to have him. Again, he's works part-time at Verde Valley Ambulance, just kind of been all over the place, kind of honing his skills for his fire service career, and he landed here. So we're
Tell
As the chief said, at this moment, we'll call a brief recess.
Oh, I'm sorry.
1 second.
I neglected Jordan's part. Sorry.
That's all right. You used to get in that guard. It's okay. So my name is Jordan Baker. I'm the Division Chief of Training and Development here with Sedona Fire. One of the aspects of that job that I'm most proud of is being involved in the new hire process and then running those new hires through a 3-week orientation academy. During that 3 weeks, there's 14 to 15 10-hour days that the individuals are required to train on multiple disciplines we have here at Sedona Fire, from rope rescue, extrication, EMS, HR training, fire suppression training, and it's a grind. It's long days. I think the last day, actually, I was talking to the recruits and I'm like, this is 3 weeks. It seems like it's been 3 months, hasn't it? And they all agreed. So physically demanding, mentally demanding, and part of that training is we require them to take quizzes for information retention. So at the end of every day or the beginning of the next day, they're tested on the material that's been presented to them. Those are all scored. Along with that, they're given evaluations by the training cadre that you see behind you here. A lot of our subject matter experts come in and do those trainings with them and then evaluate them at the end of those days. And those are all scored as well. So last year we started a unique award. It's called the Top Rung Award. And so what that does is it highlights one individual during that 3-week academy that had the highest scores with the written quizzes and the performance evaluations. And I'm proud to say out of a total of 380 points. So that's every day they're scored on some aspect of the training that was required of them, as well as personally by the subject matter experts, the trainers. There's a cumulative total of 380 points. Of these 4 individuals, there was a 2-way tie for third and a separation from first to third of only 4 points out of 380. There was a separation first and second individual. So Chief Missoula spoke to it about the strength and the potential of these candidates we just hired to come on board with Sedona Fire. We're extremely excited, and those scores just reflect that and reinforce what he stated. So there is only one Top Rung Award, though. The top score, like I said, was a 1.5 difference from the second place, and we've got a plaque for that individual and an engraved Stanley mug. And this year's Top Rung Award goes to probationary firefighter Sean Williams.
Oh, sweet. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
John, let me see.
Jordan, thank you. My apologies. Stepping on your toes.
It's okay.
Anyway, as the chief mentioned, we will take a brief recess, but before that, earlier this fall, we had an orientation lunch in this room with the new firefighters, and I had the pleasure of meeting all of you then. And I just want to welcome you, again, on behalf of the board, to Sedona Fire. We are so happy to have you. So glad we have second generation. And for those of you who are not second or third generation, we're just glad you're the first generation. And we look forward to you being with us when we can give you your 20-year awards the way we have Bob. So enjoy a celebration. We'll take a recess and take pictures and have a good time. We'll be back in about 10 minutes.
Simultaneous board meetings? Yeah.
Okay, we'll reconvene. All right, Chief, do we have anyone from the public who wishes to speak?
We do not.
Okay, thank you.
All left.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda for discussion and possible action of on the September 17th regular and executive session meeting minutes, the October 15th regular meeting minutes, and the November 12th, 2024 special meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda with the items described here on the agenda.
Do I have a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Any discussion? We're all good. All right, consent agenda has passed. I think the next thing that we need to do is get into the staff report, Chief.
All right, yes.
Oh, sorry, financial report.
Yes.
All right. I mean,
Apologies, Gabe.
fine. We can just skip me.
No, we definitely want to hear about the finance report.
All right, to the board, you have the October financials in the packet. Before I get into those, just kind of update the board a little bit on some of the stuff going on in finance. We did complete the audit field work this past month. We are on track for a December presentation of the audit to the board. In addition, we are working pretty heavily through the CMS report, which is a new report that Medicare has come out with, asking all ambulance services across the country to provide a very detailed reporting of revenue, expenses, facilities that are used in the provision of ambulance service, a lot of information about the vehicles. Buzz and staff have been super helpful on getting all that information to us so we can get that submitted. It comes with some pretty heavy consequences if we don't submit it. And so we're working on getting that done. I'll have that submitted deadline next week. So moving into the numbers specifically for the month of October, you'll see right off tax levy revenue came in right about budget, 7.9 million with a $7.9 million budget. Non-levy revenue was significantly over by about $461,000. That was being driven by a little bit of ambulance revenue overage, but also we had really good wildland revenue come in the month of October. And so that was driving that overage for the month. In addition, interest income is still continuing to be strong. So looking at our expenses, quite a bit of overages for the month, but all relatively reasonable in justification. One, personnel cost was over budget by $210,000. That was a combination of the academy for those fine young men you saw earlier in the board meeting, but also we had some deployment costs, both some lingering from some wildland deployments, as well as we had people deployed for hurricane relief. All of that is obviously reimbursable. So other than the academy costs, you know, the overtime related to that academy. Buildings and land over budget for the month by $32,000 at $69,000. Again, one driver of that is a lot of the facility maintenance and grounds maintenance that you've seen going on around here over these last couple of months. A lot of deferred maintenance that we're having to pick up. We are running it through the financials right now, but we may evaluate to have some of that stuff capitalized and pull it and put it on the balance sheet, you know, when we evaluate year end. Vehicles and equipment right now at $133,328 per month, or over budget by $67,000. Some of that is timing on turnout gear and purchases for new hires. Another component is that we did have a pretty large engine overhaul as well in the month of October. Communication IT at 69,527 or under budget by 19,600, and managerial expenses at 93,543 are right in line with budget there. Year to date, we are 4 months through the fiscal year. Our total revenue to this point is $10,299,000. You can see we are over budget by $691,000. Property tax collection, again, pretty much right in line with budget where we'd expect to be at that point. Non-levy revenues are really what's driving that $690,000 overage. About $200,000 of that is coming from ambulance revenue, performance on ambulance revenue, another $250,000 from wildland deployment. And the rest of that is really being made up by our interest earnings or investment earnings on our savings. Expenses are at 8.2 million or under budget by 105,000. So again, despite some of those overages we saw for the month of October where it looked a little scary, when we combine that and look at where we're at from a year-to-date standpoint, we're actually under budget across all of our major categories, with the exception of buildings and land. And again, it's that investment and that the deferred maintenance that's being taken care of. As far as budget expended, we've expended 36% with 64% remaining. Breakdown on where our money has gone. Personnel is our highest cost at 85% of total expenses. Operations is 7%, and both communications and managerial are both at 4%. Finally, cash position year over year, we ended the month with 21 million total cash on hand. That's an increase of from 18.8 million in the prior year. Other liabilities decreased from 25 million to 24.1. A lot of that is a function of our annual depreciation. And our total liabilities decreased slightly from 33.7 to 33.5. One of the drivers of our liabilities is that pension liability that will be recorded after we complete the audit and get the final numbers from the audit. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Questions?
I have none.
Thank you.
Good, thank you. So can I have a motion to accept the finance report?
I make the motion.
Go ahead.
Okay, and a second?
I'll second the motion to approve the October 2024 financial report as presented.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Finance report's accepted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief, over to you for the staff
right.
report.
Start with Chief Coyle is on vacation. Really, we had a quiet October as far as significant events go. A lot of guys are just getting out there running calls and doing a really good job. A lot of good feedback from the public this month. And human resources, we're in the final stages of the mechanics process. So we're hoping to have a candidate in the next week or so. We did make a conditional officer and we're going through the final hiring process for the human resource position, anticipated to start early October. And then IT, we're getting that rolled out again. Also in human resources, in the past week, we had 2 resignations and a termination a couple weeks ago. So we're evaluating the need for a spring academy to bring on board 3 folks. And no real significant issues. In administration, continue to work with Josh and staff to look at our softwares, and Kiona just completed a conference on a human resource conference and got some really good updates on some things. And then we're looking at putting some efforts into getting all of our policies, kind of modeling the board update to policies, getting all of our policies updated, formatted, and we're going to start moving them to a new spot. And then it's a project that's long overdue. And I'm excited to get started on it. It's a grind, but that's been the focus. And that will go to the next slide if there aren't any questions.
I just have one. You mentioned the HR person, you made a conditional offer,
Correct.
and you said they would start in October?
I meant December. I was reading October and thinking December, and yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, I was
Okay, thank you.
on to Dory.
So, this month we were pretty busy. We had 63 inspections and 61 plan reviews come across CRR. We also had 3 fire investigations, one being out of district at a grow and extraction facility in Camp Verde where we enacted the CRR IGA to assist Copper Canyon with that fire investigation.
Is there any updates on that investigation as far as that's shareable?
Not shareable yet. So it did go, because of the type of facility, it went to a federal investigation. They're federally regulated. So they do have, I guess shareable is they do have suspects that they are watching, and I believe they have 1 in custody, but there's a couple others that they're working through.
I just wanted to expand on that for a second because of the fact that, generally speaking, our fire investigations are to determine cause, to help with insurance and help with rebuild. But sometimes we have these unique environments where there's a lot more variables and things involved with the investigation and I just want to speak to the professionalism of our staff because it's a careful dance, working amongst the different federal agencies as you get into investigating those and doing it delicately and professionally. And Kirk was lead on it and did a great job.
We're pretty busy with community events as well. We attended the PD's community outreach event where I believe they had over 300, they all left, over 300 people. Todd helped us out too with the smoke alarm project and came up on duty with us. We had the smoke alarm event at Sedona Shadows where we were installed I know we reported on it, close to 60 smoke alarms last month. The same day, Kirk and several of our firefighters were at the Wings and Wheels event up at the airport. And then this past week, or I guess 2 weeks ago now, at Halloween, we had our haunted ambulance, which was again a huge hit. And thanks to all the crews that attended and the BC for shifting some people around. So our Freddie the fire truck could be up and chatting with the kids. As usual, it's a great event for us to get out in the community and interact with everyone. Upcoming events, December is a little slower for us, but it's probably one of our bigger events is the Toys for Tots. We should have our toy collection boxes here at Station 1 and then also at Station 3 set up already on December, and that's what I was going through the calendar. December 10th is the Toys for Tots Stuff the Bus. 7:30, 8 o'clock, we're gonna meet here, load up all the trucks on the fire truck, and then police are going to escort us up to Posse Grounds where the rest of the stuff, the bus event's going to happen for that day. Something new that we're doing this year is a Battle of the Badges where we've each got our own QR codes and links. And it's just a friendly competition between PD and fire to see who can raise the most amount of money for Toys for Tots. So Raquel, Oliver, and I have been working on a flyer, so that should come out this week to go through the newspaper and then also on social media. So there's 2 independent links where whoever and Toys for Tots can actually track that money to see who's raising the most. So we'll try to get a couple events throughout there as well as social media plugs to see who can raise the most amount of money for everyone.
The Stuff the Bus is on what date again?
The 10th of December. Did I say October?
No,
No, you said 10.
no,
No.
I missed the day. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's December 10th, and then the event itself goes the entire day, but the escort of the toys that are collected leaving from here up to the hub to the bus we'll leave here and kind of parade from up 89A up to the hub. So. Questions on there? There you are. And then the safety event this month is, holiday safety. And let me get over to my slide and notes. Thanksgiving coming up next week. Most fires happen around the kitchen. Making sure that you're keeping that safe zone around the kitchen or any cooking appliances for kids and keeping them safe, as well as make sure that your turkey is thawed out if you're going to fry it. Usually set it out 3 or 4 days beforehand in a refrigerator or in a cooler to get it completely thawed and dry before you drop it into a boiling pot of oil, because it can cause fires. Keeping it away from your overhangs, out of your garages, and even though your kitchens may have vaulted ceilings, out of them as well. Having a fire extinguisher is usually a good time to make sure you've got it and know where it is, or go buy one during this time. Candles are also a leading cause of fires across the country during the holidays. Often unattended or near window dressings such as curtains, blankets, keeping those away from. They make some really nice battery ones now that shut off automatically and give the same effect without potentially causing fires. See. If you don't have a fire extinguisher, make sure you've got a lid or a cooking device or like a pan that's larger than the other one to put on top of it. If you do have a fire, don't take off any fire blankets or pans or lids until the pan itself is cool to the touch. That way, if you open it, it doesn't get air and start burning again. Definitely don't put it in the sink. Otherwise, we hope you guys have a safe Thanksgiving. It's coming up, and stay safe.
Thank you.
Pifig. He's trying.
New acronym every month. I imagine you smile when you write that on there every time too. I'm gonna get him. So let's see. As far as EMS is concerned, we had one of our larger drills for all members with our base station pre-hospital coordinator, Dr. Lotz. All the crews rotated through end of September and then in October, doing airway management drills so that we can paralyze people in order to help them. So that's a very unique skill set.
I'd like to
Area.
elaborate. We're one of
I just like watching everyone's eyes.
it's called rapid sequence or RSI, rapid sequence intubation. And the bottom line is it's for patients that can't maintain an airway and we can't get an airway, we paralyze them. And we're fortunate that our doc, this mandated training for us to allow us to do it. But essentially we give 2 of the 3 drugs they use for lethal injection. So yeah, I just want to, it's a very serious process that we do. And the fact that they have the trust in us to do it, it's pretty awesome. And it's really good training.
Yeah, it really is. Guardian Air Medical Transport helps us with that. The flight staff and their nurses and paramedics that are the ones we typically transfer patient care to, or at least one of the flight companies. They're in here training with us. And it's the cool part. I was thinking like things to be thankful for, it being Thanksgiving. But one of the things that every time that our base station doctor and anyone coming to train here for EMS says is the Sedona folks are so receptive and so engaged. And it just like, I know Jordan and I share this all the time. It makes us so proud because EMS can sort of be, though it is a large part of our duties, it can kind of be a stepchild very quickly. Those are the ones that other agencies kind of like it's the also ran kind of skill set and stuff. So we're proud to be a top tier premier EMS agency here. And our folks show these other people, and I'm not there. They're not performing for me. I'm in and out all day. And then that's the feedback we're regularly getting from these outside folks. So it's cool, like kind of proud dad moment every time we do those bigger drills too. We make even our battalion chiefs go to it. So a couple other EMS things. We started 3 new committees to improve safety and service through EMS endeavors, joint labor management, things covering backcountry rescue, EMS response, not necessarily technical rescue, but all things including philosophy of approach, the equipment, how we're going to extract people. That's such a specialized skill set for here. I mean, that's kind of a bread and butter call for Sedona Fire, which is unique for a fire agency to be in the backcountry so much. And a cool thing about that is our medical director is going to be involved in some of those discussions too to help guide us, which I think is a first, which is pretty neat. The other one is a general EMS committee, everything from quality, CQI and QI processes of medical reports that will then drive training endeavors in-house. So that's going to come out of our EMS committee. And then the other one is an interesting one that I was actually sitting in today. That's for interfacility transfers. So our transports between hospitals are always it's an interesting discussion. And so we have a committee right now exploring just safety and service aspects of those as well. Oftentimes they take us over the road at night. So we're just trying to make sure we're doing it safely, wisely, and to the benefit of the customer, as well as keeping our folks safe. So those three, and those are really big deals, and it helps me because I can sort of farm some of the work to them. So it's a good form of forcing delegation, which is something that I'm learning in the professional development process. So I'm glad those committees are launching. And assisted with the new hire academy as much as I could with Chief Baker. Some of those aspects are really becoming plug and play with a lot of our cadre of instructors. It's really going well. I mean, Jordan is sleepless the entire time because he's doing so much. We have a great core group of folks that are training and that are really just experts, where we can show them the expectations, give them the tools, give them the time off, and then they go for it. And it's another really, really cool thing that's starting to really wind up since Jordan and I have been in our positions. That's kind of a cool fruit of it. We've been planning for the captain's assessment process that'll come up this spring, which is a big one too, with Kiona and Baker and Chief Mazulis. And then continuing to work with dispatch on any protocol changes, of which there have been some recent ones, of how we're being dispatched, how dispatch is triaging calls, and how they're deploying us or expecting us to be deployed. And that it's teaching a lot of old dogs new tricks. So there's a lot of why in that and a lot of retraining, but it really is to adhere to or comply with industry standards and outside agencies that are sort of making our dispatch center become more professional as well, like ADEQ and some of their professional organizations that have standards. They're doing a great job, but the trickle down also requires us to up our game and change the way we do things. So a lot of work on that lately. Matt in GIS continues to work with CRR, building some of the forms, things like that, as well as supporting ops in all endeavors of anything that requires global information or geographic information, including station location potential for Chief Mazulis to bring to the city council with the city of Sedona. And then finally, we had with Chief Booth's help, as far as peer support and mental health, our clinical, what are they? Like our therapist who helps train and run our peer support team, as well as our EAP internally. They were on site specifically for administrative and support personnel with therapy dogs, and they went around to some other stations as well, but kind of hung out. They were here the day we got the new engines, so they got to see that. So Dory played a big role in that, getting our admin folks. That area of our organization can be very firefighter and response centric, helping us deal with trauma and resiliency. But there's a large segment of our organization that isn't responding daily, that also we need to speak to and make sure that they're provided for as far as their mental wellness. So that was a real cool thing. First time ever for that as well. That'll be a continuing process. And then really finally, there's 2 new engines in the bay that came from Appleton, Wisconsin, that some of you purchased a couple years ago that have finally arrived. And so we're now going through the upfitting process, putting gear on them, and then we're going to do an in-service so that any new idiosyncrasies that have to do with those engines specifically. The crews are prepared when they hit the road with them. And we're going to do a push in, is that what they're called, ceremony? And you guys will get everyone will get an invite for that as well. Sort of a traditional event of pushing in the apparatus, or in with the old, or in with the new, out with the old, which will be really cool at hopefully 2 of our fire stations where they go. We'll probably stagger them. One will go in service first, and then we'll do another one. And then our ambulance is being refitted in Chehalis, Washington, and that is scheduled for pickup in early January. That's some of the fleet things. And we're doing fleet interviews, and that person cannot get hired fast enough. We have a lot of rolling stock and one person wrenching on them, so that'll be a great thing for Mike to give him some bandwidth. So.
Type 6 is what?
Oh yeah, Type 6 engine.
Probably after.
Thanks. Sorry, Todd.
I think they're hand carving the fenders or something.
And that's in Boise. There's a Type 6 engine, so pickup truck style engine is in Boise. Yeah. So that's Todd's handling that. Thank goodness. So thank you, Todd. Other than that, any questions or clarifications? Oh, I'll defer to Chief Missoula on that. He's been really carrying that.
Okay.
The transition it's been clunky, so Ed can speak to anything IT and telecom if you would, Chief.
Great. Good, thank you.
Yeah.
Jordan?
All right. Well, good evening.
Jordan hasn't been doing anything this month.
Some updates from training. So we completed our 12-month probationary firefighter evaluations for the group that was hired the last go around last October. So each one of those is roughly 2.5 to 3 hours. So with the help of the crews, we were able to get those probationary firefighters evaluated. That consists of a written test, 100-question written examination, which we redid last year, as well as 4 practical evaluations where they have to go out and demonstrate proficiency in a certain skill set, not knowing what those specific skills are until the day of. So they have to be well-rounded, well-trained on everything. And then the day of, they find out what they are, and they have to run through those evaluations and are graded on those. So we got those completed. Everybody did pretty well. Right after that, immediately after the next week, we started the 3-week orientation with the 4 individuals that we just were able to see get pinned by their family and friends. As Chief Missoula said, really solid group. 14 10-hour days, so 140 to 145 hours of total training we poured into those individuals, covering EMS to HR and everything in between. So everything we do here, we try to touch on it, give them the basics. We go in depth on some of those higher risk disciplines, EMS, technical rescue, fire suppression, and we bring in a lot of the subject matter experts that Chief Lukowski talked about. And from last year to this year, we did a feedback survey from all those subject matter experts, found out how we could do better this year. And we implemented a lot of those changes, and it really went pretty smooth this year. It was a great training. We actually partnered with Guardian Air to come in one day, as well as DPS. They brought in the helicopters for us at Verde Valley School. We brought our technical rescue and helicopter rescue, hoist rescue personnel in, and actually got to do live scenario training with them. So we walked through the aircraft with the crews that came in on the aircraft, did a safety briefing, approach and exiting, and then they actually spun up the helicopters live for us. And recruits got to do mock loads into the patient loads into the helicopters with the disc hot. So it was pretty unique, good training. DPS then actually hovered. They went live and hovered off the ground, and we got to do practice ingress and egress out of a live helicopter, which is a skill that we don't do often, but it's very high risk, low frequency, and don't want it the first time they do it to be on actual incident. So we did it during training. Then they actually flew the recruits and our HRT guys up onto a mesa, and 2 of them got to actually go with the hoist members and hoist into the aircraft. So we got the partner, we got our hoist members some training with live patients, and then got 2 of the 4 to experience what that feels like when we put patients in that situation. So it was a unique opportunity, and thankful we have the partnerships we do with DPS and Guardian Air to make that happen. And then the expertise of our individuals in those specific disciplines that our partners felt confident enough to do that training with us. So the smiles from those individuals, and Chief Lukowski was there coming off that aircraft, was second to none. I think we've got 4 individuals that are ready to join the technical rescue
Yeah,
team.
it was fantastic.
So that was one of the last days, and then SMO came in for a mental health day with all our new hires and
Oh,
talked to
thank
them
you.
for an afternoon. So we got to stress the importance of physical and mental wellness with them on the last day, kind of reinforce that environment, that culture we have here at Sedona Fire. So it was really neat. It was a great academy. It was a grind, a lot of hours, but everybody performed great, including all of our instructors here. Driver's training is underway, so our annual driver's training, we did our first one today. We've got one tomorrow and one Friday, and that's the classroom portion. So 3 hours of training. We're going over policies, procedures, and laws and regulations when we're on the road, driving code 3 and code 1, going over vicarious liability, safety procedures, and considerations, which then has a written test for everybody that we document and we keep on file. Should ISO come in and ask for an audit, we have proof that we've done that every year with all of our individuals. So that's underway. Last week, we completed our aircraft familiarization training at the airport. So we partnered with the airport. We rotated all crews, all stations up there, and got to climb around 5 different types of aircraft, including tour helicopters, safety procedures, if there's an accident, where fuel shutoffs are, where power shutoffs are, safety considerations we need to take while approaching those aircraft. Each rotation was roughly an hour and a half, 2 hours, somewhere in there. So we got to rotate all the stations, all the crews through that training. And we actually extended an offer to our regional partners at Copper Canyon, Cottonwood, and Verde Valley to join us. And Verde Valley actually took us up on it. So Verde Valley sent their battalion chief and an engine one day. The airport was extremely excited to see them. Their chief was excited for the opportunity, and the crews were really excited because they too have an airport in their first due and don't do a lot of that training. On Friday, they sent a second engine up from another station to Verde Valley Fire. So it was neat to just extend that offer and have them take us up on it. So just trying to build that regional partnership more and more every opportunity we have. So that was completed last week. The OSHA mandated training that we're required to do annually is near completion. We've got about a month left before that needs to be done. Checking on the progress, all the crews, everybody's plugging away. It's a lot of training. A lot of it's OSHA mandated and required for ISO. So we'll have that done and on file. Should we get audited or a site visit from OSHA, we'll be able to have proof that all that training was completed. Training planned. We have the hands-on portion of the driver's training planned for December 1st, 3rd, and 5th. So we'll be doing that at the airport as well. We're actually going to try to integrate the 2 brand new engines into that training before they go in service. So crews will have an opportunity to drive those engines in a controlled environment, get used to them, the turning radiuses, how they operate before we actually hit the street with those 2 engines. So good timing on that part, but that will be completed for all staff the first week in December. Final captain's position task book evaluation, which is required for them to get that signed off before they take the test this spring, is planned for the beginning of January. The big one is the battalion live fire training is underway and planned for December 16th, 18th, and 20th down at the regional training center down at in Cottonwood. And I'll extend an invitation to the governing board if any members would like to come down there and watch. But we're going to be running every one of our operational staff through live fire training, which is also an ISO requirement that we're getting back on track and doing. It's going to be a long week, getting 80 plus members through live fire training scenarios in 1 week. But we've got a good plan set. We've got the instructor depth built now over the last year and a half, which will make it a lot easier having those individuals to be able to help me put that training on, and I wouldn't be able to do it without them. So excited for that, but it is definitely going to be a heavy lift week to get that done, but a requirement that we need to meet. We did start monthly and annual training reports that are now being auto-populated with the help of Engineer Espiau to all captains and battalion chiefs. Something we haven't had here before. You always had to go fish and find where your crew was at for the training requirements for the year. That's now getting kicked to the captains and battalion chiefs at the beginning of the month. So at the beginning of the month, it's auto-populated. You get a report, shows where you are and where your crew's at, or your battalion's at year to date and the previous month. So you can friendly remind people if they need to pick up the training or if they've missed some training that needs to be completed. We can capture that now for the end of the year report. Moving on to wellness, we got the functional movement screens done for the 4 new hires like we did back in August. So through Ready Rebound now, again, building that depth and instructor pool and committee pool. We had some of our members able to be on site and scan the new members and provide those reports back to them for those functional movement screenings, which is a great asset and a great tool we have. That wellness committee is also continuing to do the quarterly newsletters and assist members with anywhere from nutrition to exercises to preventative maintenance on their person to try to decrease those injuries. And I apologize, I didn't put the numbers in here. I just saw them on the slide. We've got them up there. So I don't want to jinx myself or the agency, but in 2022 year to date, slips, trips, and falls on duty had a total cost not counting staffing and backfill of $275,000. So we had a lot of injuries. That's one of my big passions when I took this position. As I explained to Chief Mazulis during the interview, is I wanted to see if we couldn't get those numbers to start trending down. So it's been a big priority with me with the wellness and forming that wellness committee and getting those functional movement screenings and as many opportunities for injury prevention as possible. So in 2022, year to date, we're at 275,000. 2023, we're at 166,000, so trending down. Right now, as the end of June, we were at 37,000.
Wow.
So we're trending in the right direction. I don't want to jinx myself, but hopefully we're starting to see some of the fruits of that labor, the gym modifications we've done, the additional training we've done. So if that trends will be between 70 and 80,000 versus 275,000 2 years ago. So
Right.
we're hoping to continue that, driving that culture again, and just providing those resources to our membership, our entire staff on injury prevention and, procedures, techniques we can do to help bring that down, employee wellness, and, bringing the cost down to the district as well. One really fun thing exciting thing for me personally that we used to do years ago, we held the Police vs. Fire charity basketball game. I saw some of our board members there, which was very nice to see, and nice to see that support. This was an annual event we used to do 12 years ago, and everybody got busy and we just kind of forgot about it. Well, I wanted to re-engage and get some of our newer members engaged with it. So hopefully they'll take the reins and continue this moving forward. But at that event, we had between 200 and 210 spectators there, which was great. The last time we held it, we didn't have social media available to us. So it speaks volumes to the power of social media. So between 200 and 210 spectators watching the event, we were able to raise $4,000 for the Mingus girls basketball program at Mingus Union High School, which was the highest total we've ever done at this game. And it was the largest attendance we've ever had at this game. Sedona Fire had 5 individuals playing in the game. So we had
4. D-Rod
well,
didn't really play.
Dave started. Dave played a little bit. So we had 5 individuals from Sedona Fire on the team, and then members from each agency around the Verde Valley, the fire agencies as well. And then the police had, multiple individuals from various agencies from around the Sedona Verde Valley area. So it was a great event. It was nice to see family and friends there kind of come together and for a good cause. So hopefully we'll continue this path and keep this an annual event moving forward. But it was great to see some of the governing board members there and supporting and chiefs from around the area. It was a lot of fun and we won.
And you won. I was waiting to see if you were going to say.
We did win, which is a proud moment. One of the police officers that participated in the game was related to one of our new hires, and he just asked me, are you coming over here to gloat, and so it was, it's a great game, good competitive game. It does get very competitive, as you can imagine, especially a tight game like it was, but it's a lot of fun and for a great cause. So that was a lot of fun.
And I can attest that some of our executive team are really great basketball players. And I had the pleasure of meeting Jordan's mom, which was
Yep,
neat.
she was there as well. Yeah, thank you. Last, a small item, we had contracted with a company to do some of our preventative maintenance and service on our wellness equipment, our gym equipment. They'd come over quarterly and do a walkthrough and see what we needed. And they've done a great job for us. One of our new members that just volunteered to come on that committee asked if he could take that job on. So we're providing him some online training from some free online sites that we saw, and he's taking on that task. We terminated that agreement with them, which will save us some money every year, and we'll have somebody in-house that can go around to the stations and do some of that preventative maintenance and repair on that equipment. If it's within his scope, if it's not, he'll recommend the repairs that are needed and we'll get those fixed. But a small thing, but just speaks to the engagement our personnel have right now in all aspects of the organization, which is super exciting. So that's all I've got, unless anybody has any questions for me.
Any questions? Jordan, thank you. It's a
Yes, ma'am.
very complete report. And
Yep.
yeah, thank you. It's all good things. Chief Mizoulas.
What they said. It's no, and I didn't let you know beforehand, Buzz had to step out. He's on the executive board for the Arizona Burn Foundation and they have a meeting tonight. So he asked if he could step out. I said, absolutely. They're doing some stuff regionally that's helping out folks in northern Arizona. As you can see, year-to-date totals, we're trending a little down. I imagine we'll see a little bit of an uptick in the next month with flu season and the winter months. Maybe we'll get some winter visitors. Now that Snowball's open, we're gonna have a lot of the trickle down visitors for that and Christmas time and all that. So we'll see, but next slide. Again, responses by station. The trends are the trends. Station 1 continues to be our busier station, as is Station 3. Next slide. And then year over year, like I said, I've said in the past, I mean, this year over last year having, an improvement of dispatch time of a few seconds, but seconds matter. We're trending pretty steady, trending downward on our turnout time, which is that folks get out the door by a little over 10 seconds. So that's notable. And in our response times, I don't anticipate those fluctuating a lot unless we add another station or they make the roads wider or quieter. And which I don't think either of those are going to happen. Other things this month, I've spoken with most of you. I spent, since the last board meeting, I spent a week in Indianapolis for the FFA convention. And I thought it was going to be a mini vacation, but then they had a teacher track and then a student track for classes during the conference. And there was a ton of them on grant writing and grant funding. So I ended up geeking out on grant stuff all week, and it was pretty awesome. Another thing that's starting to spool since last board meeting is the City of Cottonwood's hired a police chief, and then they've got their council will be seated soon, and their council has a member that is very well versed. He was a Cottonwood police officer in dispatch, so we're going to initiate probably in about 4 weeks redoing our dispatch contract. So I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities there, and you as a board will be hearing updates for that. We're really trending towards the contract rewrite looking more like a partnership than us being a customer, and I think it'll add value, and it at the very least it'll give us a better idea of what our true costs are versus here's the fee, you got to pay it. And so I think it's going to expand opportunities for us to have more influence in how the dispatch center evolves and a lot of their capital stuff. And tying with that, I spent an unexpected amount of time with elected officials this past few weeks. I don't know what happened, election or something, but I did start a relationship with our Coconino County supervisor, who to my knowledge they've never reached out to Sedona because we're the bottom tip of Coconino County. So that's exciting for issues in the canyon. And then our county supervisor for our region in Yavapai County, we're going to be meeting soon. We've been exchanging emails, and I really want to build those relationships as we work through some things. The county is a few weeks out from completing their very lengthy dispatch consolidation study, which could have some large impacts to us. Right now, the study is trending. We had the prelim meeting last week, and the study's trending towards kind of what we thought was going to happen anyway, and that we should have a couple centers in Yavapai County, but to be determined. The Sheriff Rhodes is really pushing that. And then, like Gabe said, the CMS, he's very short and sweet with his presentation, but the CMS audit, they want to know the square footage of each station, and all of this, it is an insane amount of information. So a lot of staff hours with collecting that. We also had labor elections. We've got 2 new trustees, and we're really working to build our relationships. Not that we don't have them, but we're really fine tuning our labor management process for meet and confer. And then, as Buzz stated, we really relaunched our committee work, and we're aligning with a statewide effort that was made between the PFFA and Arizona Fire Chiefs Association. And it's just core tenets of labor management relationships. And we're aligning with the fundamentals of that document and using it as our guiding tool, so that we're not changing process. We're just reinforcing that there is a process. And so been taking some time to, a lot of the new trustees are very green and don't have a lot of experience with labor. So we're taking the opportunity to really, hey, this is how we do it and why it works type of conversations before we start that. IT, Bob, he's been doing what he does, but some of the highlights that are impactful is we've got a contract completed with the tower, and the long short of it is they did some modifications quite a few years ago to add equipment, and those modifications weren't to spec. And so Bob's been working through with the company that is on our tower to fix those issues, and it won't be a cost to the district. And the struggle was they had an idea of how they wanted to fix it, and Bob's engineer had another idea. Our idea was more costly, and they seemed to be coming to a point where we're gonna get that repaired. Additionally, Gabe spoke to some increases in facilities costs, and I'm gonna blame that on Scott Sweezo, but none of it's for fun. It's out of necessity, the things we're doing. And another thing he's working with, he's kind of got a flow path going with facilities stuff, and some of it can wait, and we're gonna appropriately budget it for next year. And but there are a couple projects that he's working on costing out, and then he's transitioning now into aligning with Bob and building the list of things to do for the radio upgrades. That's non-radio, the generators, the concrete pads, the extra wiring here, the extra air conditioner here, and that's all stuff Sweezo can manage. And so that's kind of what's been going on with IT. And then Bob's been really busy with Justin and Johnny seeking out opportunities where they're doing a ton of training, but then they're also getting integrated into and starting to take the workload off of Bob when it's feasible. And then just the swirl, I call it, is starting to happen where it's the tornadoes going, and they're starting to pull in more things that are off of Bob's plate, and it's working. The plan's working. And so and then Station 4 stuff has been taking up some time as well. We'll go to the next slide, Ms. Kim. Purchase orders over 10,000. Fire Cat's our annual hose and ladder testing to maintain compliance with NFPA. And then again, the paint, which you guys had last month. And Gabe spoke to this third one. This was definitely unexpected. Our newest, besides the 2 in the bay that we just purchased, our newest engine at Station 3 essentially had a complete motor rebuild. And it was unexpected and frustrating, but it's what it is. It's a first frontline fire truck, and it had to go down for milling and a pretty extensive repair to the tune of $31,000. So, and then we had some concrete work that was 10,000 out here in the back of the station. All right, here's some thank you letters. I can't read it, and but it's in the packet. And the donation from the Sneed family and a grocery card donation, which is pretty cool. And then that is into my report. If there aren't any questions, we can.
Are there any questions for the chief?
It was a busy month. October usually is, but this one felt extraordinarily busy. No questions.
I take it there are no questions, okay?
Yep.
Then we need to move into the next item, which is keeping your pets fire safe. I'm just going to pass something to the board members and pass this down if you want. Here you go. And,
Want to go that way?
yeah, you go that way.
Maybe
Here
some.
you go. This is just, so back in the summer when we were in Phoenix in Glendale at the AFTA conference, one of the things that I saw was a device called the Rescue Retriever. And those of you who know me know that I have a much beloved old dog. And the idea of doing something that would help us keep our pets fire safe was very appealing to me. And so I began a conversation with the chief and then ultimately with Chief Booth.
Excuse me.
You okay?
Wrong pipe.
There, we got it.
Okay. So I explored a potential partnership with the Humane Society to install, to do a project that would highlight keeping your pets safe, fire safe. And so in October, when Chief Booth did the walk, the smoke detector walk, smoke alert walk, smoke alarm walk at Sedona Shadows, we also brought rescue retrievers, and there was the opportunity if people had a pet and they wanted a rescue retriever that they will get one of those along with their smoke alarm. And so the rescue retriever goes where the animal is most likely to hide if they're afraid. Where are they going to go hide when there's a crisis? And what it does is it emits a light that helps when there's smoke, and it helps our firefighters find the animal in the event of a fire. And there is just a little decal that goes on the front door. It reflects the lights from the fire trucks and lets our firefighters know that there is a rescue retriever in the house. So we talked to the Humane Society. They were very interested. And it grew a little bit. We decided to include Verde Valley Caregivers, the Caregiver Coalition, and also the Sedona Community Center. And they all were excited to join us. So we put together a grant proposal that will go in later this week to the Arizona Community Foundation for the funds to support what we're calling Keep Our Pets Fire Safe Week. We will be approaching the city to get them to declare it as a week. That week we'll do a smoke alarm walk and have the rescue retrievers. That week, the Humane Society will be giving rescue retrievers to anyone who adopts a pet that week. The Verde Valley Caregivers will be having their volunteers work with us and with their clients to install these on any of the homes that have pets where people want them. And the same thing is true for the Sedona Community Center for the Meals on Wheels folks. So we're going to put a grant forward, as I said, later this week to the Arizona Community Foundation for approximately $9,600. We're just fine tuning the last little bits of that. And so I wanted to bring it to the board to ask for your support and approval to submit a grant and to move forward with this project. So I don't think I can move this. I can? Great. So then I would like to move that the board support the submission of a grant to the Arizona Community Foundation for the Keep Our Pets Fire Safe project in the amount of approximately $9,600. Do I have a seconder?
Second.
Thank you, Scott. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much. Okay. All right. So I think at this point, we need to vote to go into executive session for a real estate matter pursuant to ARS 38-431.03A7 and legal advice pursuant to ARS 38.431.03A3 regarding the joint city council and fire board follow-up meeting regarding the land swap for Station 4's new construction. Do I have a motion for that? Thank you, Dave. Do I have a seconder?
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passed. Go into executive session. All right, we're just returning from executive session. We are taking a 2-minute brief break and we'll resume shortly.
Okay.
And
Result of.
as a result of the executive session, we have had legal advice from Mr. Whittington and provided direction to the chief for relating to the potential real estate transaction that was the subject of the meeting. You need a motion?
Nope.
No.
That's just-
And on that note, we adjourned.